So for the past few days, I've presented a few kind of major, frequent criticisms of academia, and kind of ended each episode with a "do it" kind of message, like get over yourself, move on, engage with the real world, be accessible. Uh, but there's of course an issue with that, right? I mean, because if it were super easy, one hopes most people would do it, right? The average academic doesn't enter academia going, I want to produce elitist research that won't be of use to anyone and only talk to myself because, the world. Most people, I would say, don't go into academia with that mindset, at least not, hopefully, that up front. But we have created a system of incentives, right, where these traps are very easy to fall into and very, very hard to push out of. The jargon issue. If you're not using the specialized vocabulary of your discipline, you are less likely to be taken seriously. It's that, similar. If you talk about a concept without referring, to this fancy vocabulary word that someone published an article about 10 years ago that's now widely cited in the field, you get yelled at for not doing your homework, kind of thing, right? So we create these systems where we only take academia seriously if it becomes more and more ivory tower-y. You have to cite things. You have to cite yourself in order to boost your own citations, right? Because so an academic publishes an article, their kind of worth. You can think of an analogy to sports players, right? I mean, so you've got your batting average and how many runs you've scored. I don't know anything about sports. I'm really sorry. How many points you score in a game, whatever. Like these all kind of build your academic credibility and are going to make teams more likely to try and draft you or hire you or whatever else, right? It boosts salaries. Blah 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 blah. For academia, the more pieces you publish, the more prestigious a journal you publish in, the more times your work is cited by others and other articles, which could include your own. Like, these are all boosting your credentials, right? Like your batting averages and whatnot. So there's this incentive to keep using really highfalutin jargon to get into the highfalutin journals and keep citing yourself and your mates for the sake of progressing yourself and your career, and of course also your ideas. So people don't do this mostly out of a need to not be helpful or accessible, right? But out of a need to push ideas and careers and all of these kind of things. We create structures where we're kind of forced in a way to fall in these traps, or if not forced, at least certainly going to do it if we're not thinking about it. Same thing with the kind of hegemonic concept issue, the buzzwords, the dominant discourses, what's trendy in academia at the time. It's if you need to, make your research fit into the frame of what funders are looking at, right? So if suddenly the United States government, finds this new big strategic topic, interest area that they want lots of research on, you're going to find a way to fit your issue in that umbrella, right? Which means, adopting certain dominant assumptions about it. And otherwise you're not going to get funded. You're not going to be able to do any of the research at all. Right, so your average academia faces a lot of challenges in trying to navigate this and move things forward and that kind of thing. So certainly this week has been a lot of like, hey, academia, why are you so dumb and not helpful? But it's it can seem dumb and not helpful for a lot of reasons, and I think certainly a lot of academics and certainly a lot of academic institutions are to blame. For falling into reproducing, creating these traps, and being ivory tower and, head in the clouds, not useful. But I also think that, there is certainly a role for society and non-academics to say, hey, we're here. You exist because of us. For the most part, you're studying us, but you're also part of us. Right? I mean, no academic can truly get out of this world, right? And have some kind of completely detached research going on. And so interaction with and accountability from society, from individuals, talking to professors and say, yo, I didn't understand this, but I want to get what you're doing. How can we make that happen? So certainly there's a role for non-academics as well as academics in trying to open up these traps and get out of them.